live shot of downtown Portland, where we are at for Digital Trends headquarters. Hello, everyone. This is DT Daily. Every morning here on the weekdays, live with you, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, bringing you all the latest news in tech, some interviews, special guests, all kinds of things. I already see questions popping in because we are live on YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, and Facebook, so we can talk to you. We can hear what you want to say, whether it's good or bad. Drop those comments in, but if you have questions specifically about things we're going to be talking about today, let us know, and I'll tell you what those are. So joining us in a little while, we're going to be joined by Sam Slaughter of The Manual, which is Digital Trends' brother company, talking about the Spirit Awards. The Spirit Awards are basically awards given to different liquors. And he can say it much more eloquently, but he'll be joining us here in a little bit to talk to Jordan Felix, one of the winners of one of those awards. Yes, we're going to have whiskey live on the set. And also, we are joined by our only one and only whiskey mist, Mr. Caleb Denison.
Hey, it's good to be here.
I tried to make that work out there,
you know,
the whiskey into the whiskey mist.
Transition.
It was slick. It almost worked, but it is Caleb Denison. Hello.
I kind of drove here in the whiskey mist. You couldn't tell from that photo there, but it is foggy out there.
It is very foggy.
It's very fall, winter-like weather, and I don't know why, but I just get excited about the fall because I kind of start going inside and playing with all this tech that I get throughout the year. I ignore it all summer because I'm out there playing, and then I just become a shut-in and just start watching movies and playing with home theater gear and all kinds of stuff. And
there's a lot that's coming out now. Like there's a lot of excitement with it, and we're going to be talking about a bunch of that and about CES coming up, the Consumer Electronics Show, and 8K television. And I already see the comments coming in for 8K television that people have. So we will definitely get to those. So keep on those questions coming in there, and we'll talk about those. But first, we need to go through our headlines and talk about the trending topics of the day. And the first story, I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's what everybody's talking about in tech. It has to do with Samsung's developer conference yesterday, where they did finally showcase a foldable phone. It's official. Not that we didn't know it was happening, but we actually got to take a look at it, at least on stage, and that was Samsung's foldable phone. We still don't know the name of it. Apparently, they didn't really release that. It's speculated it could be the Galaxy X or the Galaxy F for foldable, which sounds like a terrible name to me. But they did showcase it, so on stage at this conference. And we've got some video and some different pictures of it. And it starts out as I believe, a 4.8-inch screen. Will unfold to a 7.3-inch screen. It's called the Infinity Flex Display. My question for everybody who's tuning in right now is, does this make you interested? Do you want this now that you've actually seen the Samsung version? We did see the Royale version later last week, I think it was. This, though, is a Samsung. I'm going to guess, you know, I'm not to...
A little more interest.
Little more interest.
It already looks better. It already looks better.
It does look better.
You notice how you open that thing, there's like no seam between the left panel and the right panel.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and call this the Samsung Galaxy Foldy.
Foldy. Okay. Coined right here.
Foldy.
Caleb Denison. The Foldy. Get your Foldy.
Terrible. I'm sorry.
It is.
It's
but
so early
you don't work for Samsung. That's okay.
That's right.
You know, you're just throwing it out there.
That is why I don't work for Samsung.
So it's called the...
You'll understand now.
It's the Infinity Flex Display that they're calling that special technology. They said that it can be folded like thousands of times, apparently, and it won't break or crack the screen. They've tested this out, and which means, you know, in theory, you could have a phone that could last a lot longer than even our smartphones now, if it's that durable.
Yeah, we'll see. I think they're just basically trying to assuage concerns that this very flexible moving part thing isn't going to break on you.
Yeah. Yeah, because that is something that I'm sure everybody's thinking about.
We're so used to this just one-piece design, you know, and you don't fold it. There's nothing that really moves on it except for a couple of buttons, you know.
Right.
But all of a sudden, if you have something that folds, you've got a breaking point there. And I think they're just trying to control
say, hey, we thought about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they've handled it. We've tested it. I want to see the robot that folds that thing like a bunch of different times. How mean is that robot? Does it do a really jarring job of holding that thing? Or
drop it every now and then?
Yeah. Throw it across the room like a Frisbee.
Have it go through traffic, you know, all kinds of things. Yeah,
what do you think, though? I know you're asking what other people think, but what do you think? Would you want a phone like that?
The idea is cool. I mean, just from a tech standpoint, because I like gadgets, yeah, I think it's cool. Is it something that's going to make me sway one way or another when I'm buying a phone? No. I mean, and there's speculation about what they're going to be using it for. There's some speculation it could be designed, aimed towards gamers. So you'd have a gaming device, you know, you can fold it open. I mean, one of the other things they talked about is that, I guess, you know, you could maybe look at both sides when you're taking a picture of somebody so somebody can see where they're at. Again, not worth it for me to buy a phone just for that purpose. I think it's neat, but I can't really see a whole lot of actual applications that would matter to me.
Do you think we're going to see this at CES, or are they going to make us hold out until February? That's when Mobile World Congress happens in Spain.
Yeah, and that's the other.
When are we going to get to? Well, I kind of want to put my hands on it. Like, when a new phone comes out, Apple comes out with a new iPhone, I don't go, man, I'm going to run down the Apple store and put my hands on this phone and hold the phone. Who cares about that, right? You want to play around with the apps, you know, touch the screen, things like that. This, I just kind of want to feel the mechanics of it.
Right, and see how it actually
see how it feels and play around and see if my imagination is inspired a little bit when I actually touch and hold the phone and manipulate it, and see if I start thinking of things that it would be cool for. Because right now, when I look at it on the screen, I don't know, man. I'm having a hard time coming up with ideas to get excited about it.
I've seen some questions and some comments that are coming through here. Courtney just said, I would like to see them test it with my 4-year-old. That's true. They should just give a 4-year-old.
Because you know what? Your 4-year-old is going to be testing it if you get this phone and you have a 4-year-old. They're going to get their hands on it. And yeah, that's a great point. You know, put in the hands of a toddler or you know, a kindergartner, pre-K,
see how see how long it
lasts.
Toss
it into a pre-K room and see how long it lasts.
I'm pretty bad with phones. I could probably test it out pretty quick. I break a lot of screens.
That's true. You do.
Yeah, I know. I didn't used to be that way. I've just gotten clumsier. Vicky just said, how much do they want for it? And that's, of course, another thing. They didn't say how much, but there is, as always, speculation on that. And let's see, Kim Jong-il, who's a head of research at the Golden Bridge Investment, says the phone could cost as much as 2 million won, which translates to $1,800, basically, $1,850. I mean, it's not going to be cheap. They're going to, I mean...
That would be a gutsy move.
I mean, they would have to price it higher, though. I mean, what was the S9? That was $850, no, $950, $1,000.
Yeah, S9
right in there.
Plus...
was over $1,000.
And Note 9 are over $1,000, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's going to have to be above that, but you'd be hard-pressed to get anyone to buy a phone for $1,800.
I mean, I could definitely see it going at like $1,300 though.
Yeah,
you know, depending
I suppose so.
And it probably, you know, part of it also depends on what kind of processing power it has, what else you can do with that folded screen.
There's got to be some tricks. There's got to be...
Other than just having a bigger screen.
That's what I'm looking forward to seeing, is how they sell the Fold.
Yeah.
Like, if they're just relying on it folding being
like,
a big deal that really
$1,300.
pulls people in, I'd be shocked. I think they're going to have to come up with a few things that you can do that are unique with the Fold. And I want to see just how forced it is. Because you know how these events go. You've gone to press conferences like at CES and Mobile World Congress before, where they're up on the stage, you know, a lot of lights and a lot of rockin' music and guest star celebrities saying really awkward things.
Look at this, Justin Timberlake's using your phone. Yeah,
exactly. Heidi Klum, check it out. But yeah, when they go up there and they try and sell stuff, you know, and like, isn't this really cool? And the whole crowd just falls flat. It's really awkward. And I wonder, could it end up being one of those moments where they're like trying to show off it doing something really cool and everybody's going like, all right, that's not that cool. Like, I'm sorry.
The best are when it doesn't work when they're on.
Check it out. Like, you can play Battleship on each screen.
On each side, Connect 4.
Battleship, yo.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how they spin it.
Said nobody ever.
I know, right? Well, we don't know if we're going to actually get to see it at CES. CES being in early January, the Consumer Electronics Show. Mobile World Congress is, I think, towards the end of February, I believe. I can't remember the exact dates, but in February. And it's going to be at one of those two things. They also said that they're anticipating going into mass production in the coming months, which means this may not be something we see till maybe mid next year, like actually have it out in our hands. But it's coming, so it is going to be happening, and it is interesting to see what everybody's comments are. Regardless of whether you're going to get it or you hate this idea, it certainly has drummed up a lot of interest. I mean, it's been headlining the news for a while as far as people searching for it. So
oh, yeah. Every time there was a rumor of a foldable phone, people jump on it.
It really is. So I see some comments coming through also talking about 8K. We are going to be discussing 8K televisions here in just a little bit. Caleb's going to walk us through everything with it. Yeah, I know we have some very concerned people. I understand about you know, what televisions you need to buy, about what content's coming out there. We are going to be talking about 8K here in a minute, but talking about the comments we're getting, it is time for our Read 'em and Weep segment, where every day we scour the comments that come through to Digital Trends across our platforms and take a look at what people have to say. And we've got some for you today. I'm going to say there's a theme, not a theme I normally like to go to, but it's a theme. Let's see, it's Barry Flack regarding at Digital Trends. New pea-based biobricks cut construction costs. Oh, yeah. This is actually a story that's up at Digital Trends, and it has to do with a urine-based way of making bricks for building for buildings. And you know, I guess that's a good way to utilize that. I don't know how to spin that. It says, looks like the Three Little Pigs just got another housing build option. Hashtag the pisser. I'll say that there.
Yeah, you know, this is an interesting thing. You don't have to bake the bricks. You save a lot of money not having to put them in a kiln.
Yeah.
And, you know, really funny comment. Yes, totally. I would say to the people who invented this, you're in the money. Sorry, I couldn't even keep them straight. I'm sorry.
And we'll see a comment about that one tomorrow on Read 'em and Weep.
So fired. So fired.
All right, let's go.
I've been holding on to that one since yesterday. Okay. Sorry, guys.
Let's maintain our composure here. Next one.
I am weeping.
Leif
This
Johnson.
is the Read 'em and Weep segment. You read it. I'm weeping. I think this is a win.
Leif Johnson says, regarding Red Dead Redemption 2, a beginner's guide, boring and poorly designed game, tedious chores, clumsy controls, tiresome animations, and totally broken bounty system.
Wow, he really hates that game.
Really hates it. I mean, for a lot of people, it's the best game of all time.
I think I think this is a mad person.
I think
he's sat inside and he just wants to hate things that other people love a lot.
Is that, or I was talking to Jake, our producer here before the show, and maybe he tried it and he just sucked at the game.
That's
like
entirely
maybe he's just
possible.
bad at it.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you don't like the game, Leif Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's it. You know, I do understand. You know, I rage quit Mass Effect 3. I'll admit it right here. Yeah, the Banshees sucked, and I threw my remote. And then once I threw my remote, I'm like, okay, I shouldn't be playing this anymore.
Yeah, you got to put that down.
I took it out and I basically threw it away.
I'm looking forward to playing that game.
I want to play this.
I didn't play.
Yeah,
I didn't play the first
2.
one much,
Yes.
but I am definitely. I mean, the hype around this is huge. People are really digging it. Sounds fun.
But not so much for Leif.
No.
So
sorry, Leif.
Sorry, buddy. All right, next comment that we have here is from Lenny Del Vecchio at Lendog regarding Kim Dog. I don't know if there's a coincidence there. Amazon sending out toy catalog for the holidays. Got mine today. Very cool. Makes me miss the big at Toys R Us one. And
rest in peace, Toys R Us.
Yeah.
I have
I thought they were bringing Toys R Us back.
Are they?
That's what I thought. I haven't done the research
Would
on
never
it.
really be the same. But I get this. You know, the big catalog. You know, you get to kind of thumb through it, and there's that visceral experience of touching the paper and looking at the glossy photos. I remember doing that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And kind of dreaming about what I wanted for Christmas. And yeah, it's kind of interesting that Amazon's doing that. They're taking that touch point that everybody still wants, and they're putting it out there, even though it's still an online store. You know, it's still the same old Amazon. Feel just as conflicted about shopping with them as you did before.
Right,
it's
but
no
you know,
different just because they
time,
have
the convenience.
shiny catalog.
All right, taking a look here. There's a couple of comments coming through just about Red Dead Redemption 2. Dan says, I can't wait to play Red Dead Redemption 2. Me too. I want to play it. We should get it in here, actually. Sarah says, I'm about 3 hours in. At this point, I will finish it by December 2020. Yeah, there's a lot of detail in that one. Apparently, it's a very long game. I think that's just even the download. It takes forever. Going on to the comments regarding, this is from Brett, regarding the man-made island has penthouse and shark feeding station. Shark feeding, money makes people stupid. Yeah, I don't think I would want to feed the sharks myself, but would you feed the sharks?
I have fed sharks before.
You have?
Not in a shark feeding
Like in the
station
cage?
in a penthouse. No, when I was working on cruise ships.
Oh, that's right.
It was a popular excursion that people would do where you go and you dive down about 70 feet. You kind of sit down on the seafloor, relatively shallow area, and you take down this frozen block of fish that slowly starts melting as you take it down into the warm water. And you get a spear, and you get to stick the spear out with the fish, and the sharks come by and they kind of rip it off the spear, and you're feeding sharks.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the idea is that it's very cool, but it's also very scary. So it's kind of a thrill thing. I mean, you can jump out of a plane, or you can dive in the ocean and feed sharks. That has nothing to do with this. This is a man-made island with a penthouse and a shark feeding station. But maybe the guy did that once.
There I was
like,
on that morning in the spring.
He's a pirate at heart, and yeah, I guess money makes people stupid. That's true. People do a lot more stupid things than feeding sharks, though.
We've got a couple of comments on this. Dan just said, being on an island and making a feeding station for sharks seems like the biggest Darwin Award ever. Yep, that is not going to end well. And Suzanne says, more on Caleb's cruise ship days, please.
Yes, well, she already knows plenty about those.
Oh.
Suzanne. That's my sister, by the way.
Oh, okay. All right. You should have just said, no, it's whatever you
total
think.
coincidence. Her last name is also Denison, with one end in the middle.
How would that happen?
No way.
All right, let's. We got two more comments here to get to, and then we do need to talk about some more news. Let's take a look. So this is from Our Little Cakery regarding Paradigm Persona B speakers. Dude, if you need to rent again, the theme, do it if you need to run to pee, then just go and stop dancing around. Out of context, I have no idea what that's referencing.
I think I might know. I think I might know. First of all, Our Little Cakery is a very interesting YouTube name. Second of all,
Caleb's going to crack this case right now.
Oh no, that's
live on the air.
Yeah, that's no problem. The Paradigm Persona B speakers are some very high-end bookshelf speakers from the audio company Paradigm, and I'm imagining this person, especially since a YouTube comment, it's probably a comment on the YouTube video that our good man Parker Hall recorded.
Oh yes, Mr. Parker Hall.
And perhaps they're trying to comment on his on-screen demeanor.
Oh, that's what that's referencing.
I am definitely going to go watch this video now, but yeah, I don't really think that was the case.
You don't think Parker just tried to rush the review and avoid going to the bathroom?
These speakers are great, guys. I definitely think you should buy them.
Gotta go.
No.
We're on very tight timelines here. You know, you have to do it. There's no time for that.
I mean, if you got to resort to making, you know what? Make your own video, okay?
There you go.
Get the speakers.
Caleb backing Parker up. All right, well, maybe we'll get Parker on later. We can have him defend himself. All right, the final one we have here is from Keelan King regarding Facebook Messenger to roll out unsend feature. Call me when Twitter figures out an edit button. Yes.
There. Amen.
Yes.
Finally, a comment I can get behind. Yes,
there
absolutely.
are so many times I've sent something out and then I realize it like 5 minutes later that I completely misspelled something. And then it's like, do you delete it and repost it? Because then you just look ridiculous.
Yeah, some people got some notifications.
Or do you just let it out there and be like, okay, well, they just think I can't spell.
You know what? I usually just let them go out there, you know, especially as an editor, you know, somebody who's supposed to spell stuff right and say good words. And occasionally I don't. And, you know, I just let it go out there. I'm human too. It humanizes me.
It's true.
You know, most people think I'm some kind of like, you know,
just
wordsmith god.
Yes,
you know,
most people.
Which I understand.
The word around the office is just Caleb. He is a wordsmith god.
Yes, but
I mean,
you know what? I'm human like you.
And yeah,
I bleed.
So
sometimes
you heard it here first. He is human, everyone. Strong men also cry. All right, so let's get a couple of news stories here because we do need to talk about some. And I'm curious which ones you want to give your comments on because I know it's about everything. But let's talk about Facebook here first. Facebook Portal. If you don't know what the Portal is, that is Facebook's hardware adventure for basically a smart speaker. And we saw this announced, I believe it was a month or two ago, and it's the Portal and the Portal Plus, and essentially it's a way to have voice and video phone calls through Facebook with this device that sets up, and part of it that's honestly kind of creepy that I think a lot of people were a little bit nervous about is the way it can track you. So what it'll do is if you have two people in the frame, there's another version of it right there, and I think we even have a video of it. Where there's two people in the frame, it will notice if there's somebody in the background, and the frame will expand, the camera will back up, and catch everybody, and it'll follow the movement of whoever is moving through the frame.
Now that part is cool.
So yeah, I want to know what you think about it. Like, ignore the Facebook side, just that feature.
Yeah, I think that feature is cool. I think that's a better way of having a video phone call experience, you know, where it kind of is dynamic and moves around a little bit instead of it just being kind of a static, you know, the old static webcam thing that we're used to.
Right.
Now, when it starts rolling around and following you around the kitchen as you're cooking or as you're vacuuming, or I don't know who would take a phone call while vacuuming. That's
you know, whatever.
You got a robot vacuum for that anyway, right? Yeah. But I can understand where the idea that it can follow you around and it has a camera on it. It's and it's showing all of this to you.
Like in theory, you can be busy walking around, not paying attention to who you're talking to.
It wants to, you know, follow you around and video you for other reasons.
Well, and
I think that's a creep factor that people are talking about.
And that's the thing. So maybe the idea maybe not that bad. Say it was Google. Well, probably you still have those same concerns, but particularly I think it's the Facebook issue. Just with all of their security concerns, Dan's echoing that same thing in the chat. That's where the issue comes in. I mean, you've got so many security and different, you know, hacking issues that have happened with Facebook. And then you come out with this where it's just like, we're going to video in your home. To me, the marketing side of it seems a little bit tone deaf about your own issues, a little, and whether or not.
Even when it was just a smart speaker, some sort of a competitor to Alexa or Google Assistant, I'm already reluctant. Now you add a video component. And yeah, I mean, I'm down to give people a shot. I forgive and forget, but Facebook does not have my trust right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
and I'm not ready for this product from this company, and I think they should wait.
Well, they probably should have. I mean, I don't know what sales are. Obviously, I don't know if they've released that, but the main story is that it's ready to ship now, so it's shipping out. We are going to be getting one. I know Kim applied for one, so we're going to be getting one here at some point, and we'll take a look at it. But yeah, I think it's honestly, it's the Facebook factor. I'm curious what people think. Like, do you want to use this product? And maybe, again, remove the Facebook idea. Maybe it's not that bad. You know, maybe this is the way that we're going anyway. And another company will come out with it, and we'll say, oh yeah, okay, you know, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
But this one,
I was quick to poo-poo the idea of
tracking me around.
You know, Facebook video chat is becoming more and more powerful, though. If you don't own an iPhone, it's probably the easiest way on your phone right now to have a video chat with somebody that you know. So I do think that there's an opportunity for this to be used. I just don't know if it's a good time for Facebook to put it out. I get it if they're feeling the pressure. Look at Amazon and Google. They're putting out these smart screen, smart speaker things. Facebook wants to be a part of that.
Everybody's doing it. A lot of people want to get into the hardware game. You know, Facebook's tried, attempting, you know, to get.
I want to see what else it does. I want it to be more than just like a video conferencing sort of thing. I want to watch videos. I want to listen to music. I want it to sound decent. So yeah, I can't wait for it to come in. I'll give it a shot.
Sarah is saying, do they both need to have the portal to use it? That's a good question. I'm going to guess no, but
if it runs over Facebook's video chat, then I would say no. It's just a new piece of hardware that already takes advantage of a feature that exists now.
Right,
so
that's already on
conceivably
there.
Somebody could be on their phone and just you know, holding it and doing their thing, and somebody else gets the experience of having it over on their desk and being able to move around their house and still be engaged with that phone call.
Right. Well, I mean, again, it's going to be out, so you can get it now. I mean, you could already pre-order it, but it's going to be shipping out. There is one other thing I just want to bring up since we're talking about Facebook, and then I know we'll take a break, and then we'll get to these 8K television questions that are coming in, and also we're going to be drinking whiskey in a little bit. So the other thing about Facebook is, and you may start to see this out about, is Facebook has some actual physical pop-up stores that are showing up in Macy's around the country. And what they are, they're essentially to showcase small businesses that are on the Facebook marketplace. And so they'll have some of the different products that you can take a look at, and the weird thing to me, no portals, which it seems like that would be the perfect opportunity to showcase a portal, but they won't have that. It's just other businesses' products that they're showcasing. Now, then they also have I'm sorry, I was looking at this earlier. That is the cheesiest photo stand I have ever seen. Most liked gift of all. I'm like, no.
My daughter made that in her third grade class.
Yeah.
Like, that's not... And I mean,
the most liked gift
of all. Thumbs up and a couple emojis tossed off in the corner.
Yeah. But regardless, though, that's what you're going to start seeing. So they're popping up all over the country. They say they may expand it. They're running them at least until Christmas, maybe further into the next year.
What an odd pairing. Facebook and Macy's.
And small business. Facebook and Macy's advertising small businesses.
Like, I'm okay, Facebook.
Smaller
you want to support small businesses. Yeah. Fully for you. But like Macy's?
Yeah.
I don't get that partnership.
I don't know the history behind that. We do have an article at Digital Trends you can check out. I don't know the entire...
There's got to be some intelligence behind that I don't get. I just don't see Facebook's audience shopping at Macy's a whole bunch. Sorry, Macy's. But
well, I mean, but Facebook's audience is everybody, though, really.
I guess that's true.
But I just don't know if I'd be walking around like, oh, a Facebook store. I mean, I guess I would stop by to see what's in there. They would get me to walk in.
I feel like I think we need to go down to Macy's.
We need a field trip. All right.
And check it out, see what's going on.
Caleb and Greg go to Macy's.
Oh,
there we go.
You'd watch that.
There's a feature. You know you'd watch it. Yep. All right, let's take a break. We need to reset here because we're going to be talking about 8K televisions. Caleb is our expert. You have the questions. Drop those into the live chat, and we will discuss it and let you know whether you have to rush out and buy an 8K television or not. Back here in just a minute with more DT Daily. All right, it is time to talk 8K televisions, 8K content. I see the questions. Lots of people have them. Live here on DT Daily. Drop in your comments, your questions, whatever you have, and we will walk through these. So why don't we start from the beginning and just talk about, in the beginning, television.
In the beginning,
there was television.
Andy Griffith Show.
Let's talk about 8K. So I think the main question that I think we're going to get a lot of, and then we're going to go into the specifics, is it feels like we just got 4K televisions.
It's true. Actually, that happened 7 years ago.
7 years ago is when the first 4K.
Yeah.
See?
It feels like it just happened. And that's because most people are just now thinking about 4K because they need to buy a new television.
It's just coming to market.
If you're not into TV tech, you don't follow it the way I do.
Right.
It's my job. Then you're not really thinking about 4K until you're thinking, oh man, we need to replace this TV. You start doing your research and you start learning about 4K. And then HDR comes along and pushes that technology even further. And that feels really new to you. So no sooner are you getting comfortable with 4K than Samsung and some others are starting to talk about 8K TVs. Samsung's actually selling an 8K TV right now.
Yeah.
So let me, I don't want to lose a bunch of viewers, but let me just go ahead and put the good stuff out there.
Okay.
You're not buying an 8K TV anytime soon. Like, it'll be available if you have megabucks. You could do it if you wanted to. But like right now, just buy a 4K TV. Pretty much every TV that you can buy right now is 4K, unless you get down under 32 inches. And it's the new standard. There's nothing to get used to or whatever. And 4K is not going to be replaced anytime soon.
Okay.
8K comes along because TV sizes are getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And that's true. I'm just taking a look at your reviews at digitaltrends.com. Caleb flies around and checks out all the televisions, like all these new ones that come out.
I see them before the public sees them, before they hit stores, the whole nine. Yeah, I'm usually. And
we see them here, in the entertainment room where we test these things out. Maybe at some point for Daily we'll go in that room too and just kind of showcase that. But it's crazy, these giant boxes of televisions that are shipped in here for you to take a look at, and they're huge.
It was common for me to get like a 42 or 47 inch TV, you know, and then slowly 55 just kind of became the new standard, at least for reviewing.
The normal.
The most popular size of TV right now is, I believe, 50 inches. But I think after this holiday season, the most popular size of TV, or the one that sells the most in the U.S., is probably going to become the 55-inch TV. When you think about it, that's pretty sizable. Like 55 inches is a good size TV. Yeah. And yet, I am so spoiled that when I get a 55-inch TV for review, I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is kind of dinky. And
boring.
Because I'm used to a 65-inch screen now.
Yeah.
And that feels normal and that feels comfortable. And honestly, that's not normal or comfortable for most people. 65 inches is huge. I'm spoiled, right? Because it's my job, you know. But the overarching trend, and all of the TV manufacturers are telling me this, it's not just Samsung that's trying to sell their 8K TV. TVs are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And they're starting to blur the lines between, like, do I get a TV or do I get a projector? You know, if you want that really big
question actually
screen.
in here about that. Like, why don't we just talk about 4K, what the difference is between 4K and 8K? Because I do have that graphic that I think we can take a look at. That just kind of shows how many more pixels you do really cram in there.
So it's about pixel density, right? So if you take a 1080p and you get really close to that TV and you look at it, you see a little dot, right?
Right.
Well, now on a 4K TV, in the same space as that one dot are 4 dots, right? So you get much denser amount of pixels, and that means that you can get closer to the TV and not see the pixels. You don't really see the dots. It just looks like a very smooth, high-resolution, clear picture, right? 8K takes that one space where there's one of those tiny 4K dots and replaces it with 4 more dots. In other words, there's 8 dots in the same spot that you would see on a 1080p's 1 dot area, which is ridiculous.
But that's also getting really close to it to where you can see that.
Like, well, so I would say 4K only becomes valuable once you get above 50 inches. And most people would say 4K is only really valuable at 55 inches and above versus 1080p. Doesn't really matter anymore because they're all 4K TVs.
Right,
but if we're talking about the value of the pixels per inch as you scale up, you got to have at least, I would say, 55-inch TV for most people to really value the 4K resolution. It takes easily a 65-inch TV or better to show anything that's worth 8K because the pixels have to be so tiny. They can't really cram them down that small. I would say for most people, 80 to 85 inches, you can start to see the difference between 8K and 4K, and that's when you're fairly close to the screen.
Okay.
So 8K is a value for people who are buying big TVs, and we are going to see TVs getting bigger and bigger. Right now, 80 to 85 inches is pretty much as big as a TV gets.
Yeah,
and
unless you're talking about like a stadium.
Right, exactly.
You know, yeah.
And even those stadium things are made of individual panels that are stitched together, right? So I don't think there's a bigger than no, that's not true. I think Sharp made a 90-inch TV at one point, but 80 is about as big as they get. 77-inch for OLED. And you've got to have at least 80, 85 inches before 8K makes any kind of sense at all.
I want to get to some of these questions here that are coming through, and then I've got one other segment that I just want to talk about with you, and I know we're starting to run out of time, but I want to get to these here. I'm talking about anything beyond 60 inches. I think it was DJ Southpaw said this, and I'll clarify that. They're suggesting go to a projector. How do you feel about that?
No. So
Next question.
No, I mean, there is an argument that I think to be made on that point,
projection.
which is like the cost. It makes more sense to buy a projector and a screen from a cost perspective than it does to buy a really gigantic TV. You can get a much bigger image for a lot less money with a projector and screen. And yeah, I love projectors. But here's the thing. Projectors are hard to install for a lot of people. They don't necessarily have the spot for them. You have to combat light in the room to get a really bright, punchy picture, or you have to spend a ton of money on a super bright projector.
Yeah.
It's just not practical for a lot of people. You know, they're constantly walking in front of their projector. You know, you don't want to replace a TV with a projector. Like, projectors are for more specialized viewing, really.
Yeah,
than
you have like the entertainment.
Like, who wants to watch Geraldo on a projector?
Who
You know
wants
what
to
I mean?
watch Geraldo?
Well, apparently a lot of people, which disturbs me.
I love how you put on Geraldo of all things.
Listen, man, I'm old school. Like, I'm from the Geraldo. When I was sick,
What's in the vault?
When I was sick at home and there was nothing but daytime TV to watch, it was like Geraldo and Phil Donahue and crap, and that's burned into my brain. Yes, I am old. It's okay.
Another shocking admission.
The fact of the matter is, though, a big TV is brighter. It has better contrast. The color is better. And so, yeah, there are people who are like, you know what? If I'm going to buy big, I want the best picture I can get, and that's in a TV, not a projector.
Follow-up question about that. Now that we're talking about Geraldo and compelling content. Speaking of content, 8K content. There's not a lot out there. See, King Boy on YouTube just said in Japan, some state TV stations are already prepping for broadcasting mainstream 8K programming next month.
That's true.
Why broadcast in 8K?
NHK started with 8K. Years ago, right? And they've already done the Olympics and some World Cup matches. They did live broadcast 8K, sort of a trial thing, but it was totally successful. They totally did it. Well, I would say if you have a really big 8K display, something like 100, 120 inches, you're playing a big sporting event like that for a bunch of people, it's great to have it in 8K because there's no pixelization. It looks marvelous. It looks totally real. It looks as good as it does on your 65-inch 4K television as it does at 120 inches, almost twice the size. It looks that sharp.
So like maybe something for if like during the World Cup, for example, if you want to have a big stadium with it, you could have a giant, stitched together a whole bunch of 8K monitors. And
you could, yeah.
That way, I mean, I'm trying to just think about how that would even still.
When you're capturing information that has specific info for each and every pixel, and the TV is not guessing at it, you get a little bit more realism, But honestly, I'm thinking sports bars here, right?
Yeah.
You put a 120-inch 8K display in there, everybody gets an amazing seat. It looks fantastic. But yeah, no, there's not a lot of 8K content. There's a bunch on YouTube that has been shot by professional videographers, and it looks really, really cool. But no, there's not going to be an 8K Blu-ray coming out anytime soon. Netflix isn't going to be streaming 8K too soon. And when they do,
even 4K content's hard to find. I mean, not hard to find, but I mean to have the right bandwidth for that. I mean, it seems like.
For a lot of people, it's hard to get.
Yeah.
It's hard to get. You can find it, but can you really afford the bandwidth? Like, do you have the bandwidth? Do you have a data cap you have to watch out for? Yeah, which is why the 4K Blu-rays are so popular, I think. You can buy the disc. It's got the regular Blu-ray in there. It's got the digital copy, and you get the benefit of the 4K. And if you're a video nerd like me, that's awesome and fun. But yeah, 8K, it's staring into the future. Samsung's just trying to say, listen, this is where the industry needs to go. This is where it's gonna go. We're just gonna get out ahead and put out a TV and kind of nudge things along a little bit.
Right. So 7 years from now, it's going to be the standard.
7 years from now, I think we're going to be surprised at how prevalent 8K is. Yeah. I'm surprised now at how prevalent 4K is 7 years after it first came out.
Wow.
History's going to repeat itself. It always does. That's how the technological world works.
Well, that's where we're at right now. So just kind of a brief history of 8K there, where we're at, where it's going. And you can check all this out at digitaltrends.com. There's a write-up all about 8K. Caleb reviews these televisions, tons of reviews. Caleb, thank you for joining us today, as usual.
It's been a pleasure. I can't wait until we can see DT live and your gorgeous face in 8K.
Well, just wait for the episodes of
8K Nibbler.
Caleb and Greg go to Macy's in 8K.
Oh, man.
That's
it's
what
coming.
people want. 7 years. Mark your calendar. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. So we are going to go to a break, but then we're coming back with something very exciting. A first here on DT Daily. Sam Slaughter from The Manual is going to join us, themanual.com, our wonderful brother company here at Digital Trends, and his special guest, Jordan Felix, to talk about whiskey, Spirit Awards. Got whiskey questions? Drop those in. We talk about all kinds of things on Daily. Back here in just a second with them, right here, well, like I said, on DT Daily.
Don't miss it.
Yeah, I said it twice. From Caleb Whiskey Mist Denison to actual whiskey. Hello, welcome back to DT Daily, and thank you everybody for joining in. Of course, we are live, as I say every time, on Periscope, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, taking your comments and questions. And today is a first for our show. We're going to be drinking some whiskey. To my right is Jordan Felix. Hello, Jordan.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And on the end is Mr. Sam Slaughter from The Manual, themanual.com. Sam, thank you for hopping in today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Sam, for anybody who doesn't know, and this is, for our newer audience here at Digital Trends on DT Daily, why don't we explain what The Manual is, and then let's talk about these Spirit Awards and what we have in front of us.
Sure. The Manual is a men's lifestyle magazine where we cover anything that you could ever want or need or think about or wish about when it comes to a men's lifestyle. So we cover food and drink, we've got auto, we've got outdoors, we've got fashion, grooming.
Camping. Yeah, it's everything.
Everything.
And in particular, why don't we tell everybody what your title is at The Manual, Sam?
I am the food and drink editor.
Food and drink editor, or the spirit guide. So
spiritual leader.
Spiritual leader. I'm sorry. Yeah, I want to make sure that I got that right. So, and what is entailed with that job?
So I do a lot of taste testing, obviously. I get to travel a lot. I'm very lucky to be able to try whiskeys, whatever, where they are made, which I think does a lot for understanding what an alcohol or a food or anything like that is when you've got whether it's the terroir of a wine, so the soil, the conditions that make that, or having fresh pasta in Italy, something like that, where you can have something just out of a grocery store, but it's never going to recreate it. So then I take all of that experience, distill it down, if you will.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice little tagline.
And
See how you got that job.
and then put it out there. So whether it's reviews or roundups or Spirit Awards, so being able to go through and pick out what we felt were the prime examples of American spirits.
So, and that's what it is. So the manual came out with the Spirit Awards. You can check that out at themanual.com. And so the Spirit Awards were a whole bunch of different categories of spirits, you know, and you went through and kind of whittled them down and figured out what you picked were the best. And Jordan, so let's introduce you.
Yes.
Jordan, let's talk about who you work for. Like,
Yes.
what's your company?
So I'm with the Westwood Distillery. So Westwood American Single Malt brand advocate. As again, it's a long title.
Yeah.
But basically,
Sounds fun though.
It's a lot of fun. I came over from the bar world. I ran the Malt and Whiskey Library for a couple of years here in town, and then came across and had a really great opportunity with House Spirits at the time. Now we're Westwood Distillery, and basically we are creating the quintessential American single malt and looking at what is in this area and harnessing the brewery culture and utilizing a really great solid grain and using American oak.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is something different. You know, I feel like it's something that's happened more recently, but, you know, making this kind of whiskey, like, I mean, we're in the Northwest,
Right.
You know, and using those kind of ingredients and everything, that's a very unique concept. And this is the one that we have right here. So this was one of the Spirit Award winners, correct, Sam?
Yes, this was the winner for American Single Malt. So it's one of the, if you check out Beards, Booze, and Bacon, the Manuals podcast, we've got some more about the Spirit Awards on there. But
yes, we do.
This category is one of the most interesting to me because it's not what you necessarily think of when you think of American whiskey. You know, we go to bourbon or rye or whatever, but single malt whiskeys have been growing in amount and popularity, and I think this is a prime example of that.
Okay, so let's take a look at this here. And I know we've got a camera on it, and I know that we're gonna maybe sample a little bit.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
But in particular, like maybe let's walk through the award, like with this particular brand.
So
Yeah, so totally. So Westwood is a culmination of around about 14 years. So we've taken our time. Christian Krogstad, our founder of our distillery, started way back in 2004 and knew that he wanted to get to whiskey at some point, but wanted to do it the right way. And so we went into clear spirits first and produced maybe a gin you might have heard of called Aviation.
Yep.
And Aviation for a long time. And then basically with the sale of Aviation a couple of years ago, we were able to really reinvest back into the brand and really create Portland's first grain-to-glass distillery, whiskey distillery. And so basically we source our malted barley from a malting facility about 40 minutes away. We're really lucky to have something like that because in Scotland there's typically only 4 or 5 major malting sites, and we have them right on our doorstep. It's all Pacific Northwest grown barley. We bring that in, we mill it ourselves on site, but where our artistry really is the beer. And so we, all of our distillers were previous brewers throughout Portland, so they've all come over from, say, Hopworks, Culmination, Migration, Breakside. They've all come over.
All great breweries.
All great breweries, and then sort of come in and just sort of learnt that next step for taking on and creating a really great golden strong ale and doing a long ferment with an ale yeast from Chico, California, which is known for Sierra Nevada 001. So we saw that beer as the beer that sort of galvanized the American craft brewery revolution, and we're utilizing that as a standard. And from there, we're fermenting for 4 to 5 days, then sending over to copper pot stills, double distillation, and then into freshly charred American oak for around about 4 to 5 years. And we're mingling between, you know, a bunch of barrels together. And then we're just looking for 5 elements. We're looking for sweet, herbal, earth, spice, and fruit.
So those are the 5 different things that you kind of use as your benchmarks when you're going through this.
Yeah, so when we mingle, we sit down and do a sensory. Yeah, let's do this. Let's drink some whiskey. That's the best way to try it.
Taking a look here in the chat, there's some different comments. Where can people try this?
Yes. So we can definitely, in Portland alone, we have close to 48 liquor stores that carry us. We've got another 20 or so out there in Oregon State. We're also with Total Wine out in the United States. We're also with K&L. We've Cask in San Francisco as well. We're at a lot of independent liquor stores, and yeah, we're up and up.
let's give this a taste here. So for somebody who's not a somebody who manufactures whiskey or is a spirit guide, what would I look for? Like when I'm trying this, what are the notes? Like how would I know this from another whiskey?
So because it's a single malt whiskey, they're using only malted barley, whereas a bourbon would be a mixture of corn, barley, rye, wheat, some combination of that with at least 51% corn. But with malted barley and the fact that you're using a beer, you're going to have maybe a little bit of smokiness, a little bit of kind of bready, malty flavors going on. One of my favorite things about this is I feel the beer flavors from when they was brewed, those come through really well in this whiskey. So you're going to smell some oak, some, maybe some vanilla, some of those bready kind of things, and those will translate through, and it'll be like you're drinking a beer on steroids at various points.
I like that. I like that description. All right, here I'm gonna
compacted Boilermaker in one glass.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I can tell that. Yeah, that is definitely whiskey. Sorry, I'm used to drinking whiskey on camera. No, it's really good. It is really, really good. Yeah, it's definitely got that vanilla flavor in it. So,
got a lot of that baking spices, sort of chocolate malt coming in.
I think that beer on steroids. I like that. Now that you put that into my head, I can definitely tell where there's like a beer origin to it. This is really, really good. I can see why it won the Spirit Award. Yeah. And so let's talk about just the Spirit Awards in general. What else can people take a look at with that at themanual.com?
So we've got 9 categories in total, ranging from a couple of different whiskey categories: bourbon, rye, American single malt whiskey, to gin, flavored vodka, and vodka. The flavored vodka being also a very interesting category for us because as you'll see if you check it out, the 3 winners are very different in what their flavorings are. And then we've got both unaged and aged rum, brandy, and I believe that would be all 9.
Cool. Yeah, nice. And you can check that all out. And one of the things, this is honest, that I really like going to the manual for is basically an education, because I didn't know this much about what to look for in whiskey. Just even right now, I've learned so much more. And that's what's fun about it, is learning about this. And Jordan, thank you for
absolutely
coming on here and educating us about this too. This is really great. So where can people find this? What is the best way, I guess, to go online?
To go on, if we go online, we can go to Flavia. It's also really great with Caskers as well. So forgive my accent, so it's,
No, it's okay.
But Flavia Caskets, what accent? Yeah. Flavia Caskers are basically the major 2. Total Wine also and K&L. You can order online. Basically, typing into the search engine, you're pretty much going to find a Westwood American Single Malt. Into the search engine, you're going to find a bunch of online options. We also we're in some fantastic bars throughout the country. We're at Anvil in Houston. We've got 7 Grand in Los Angeles and San Diego. We're out at the Dead Rabbit and also Blacktail in New York.
Nice.
So we're a Malt Norman Whiskey Library here, obviously, and then also Cannon up in Seattle. So we're
all over the place.
All over the place.
Try it out.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for hopping on and joining us. Cheers, everybody here. To some whiskey, and thank you. This is a cheers to everybody who's watching the show right now. Again, DT Daily, we're live every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, talking about all kinds of different things. We've got, obviously today, we've covered Samsung's foldable phone. We talked about Facebook portal. We talked about 8K televisions. Lots of comments and questions coming in on that. You can check out all those articles at digitaltrends.com. And then we're drinking whiskey with the manual with Sam, Jordan. It's so much fun. So thanks everybody for hopping in with us. And again, hit subscribe wherever you're watching. Make sure you hop in every day. Every day is something different. Tomorrow we've got a completely different category of stuff we're going to be discussing, but stick with Digital Trends all day long. We've got the breaking news, we've got headlines, we've got in-depth articles, we've got opinions, and we want to hear yours too, so leave those comments and questions on there. And later on today, as part of our Digital Trends Live platform, we'll be having Trends with Benefits at 2:30 p.m. Pacific, going in depth with some other topics that we'll be talking about, and we want your comments there too, so mark your calendars for that as well. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will be back tomorrow with some more DT Daily. I forgot to drink the whiskey after cheering.